Hi, so in this video I'm going to be going over the editing process for our whole short film. As you'll see in a minute, it's quite big, the project that we've done. The layers of audio and video files there's quite a few, so there'll be a lot to go over just in this short video. But what I'll probably do is it'll probably end up being about half an hour long, so I will condense that down into maybe like 3 to 6 videos depending on what I'm talking about, because I'm going to go over everything that I've done editing wise in this and sort of talk about why we did it and how it changed from previous versions of the short film, because as you've seen on my blog we've got about 6 different versions. Just as it progressed, I thought it'd be a good idea to render each one out so we could see what it looked like, which then let us get feedback a lot easier than just playing it off the project, which is a bit laggy. So I'm just going to start off here just showing you sort of what we've done overall. So if I just minimize this just 2 seconds, and here we go. So I'll start from the start. Originally we didn't actually have this logo in. This was something we added in later on just to make it look a bit more professional. This was based on research into other short films that would often have the production logo at the start, just as a way of sort of showing the importance, obviously, showing like about the short film and what it is and who it's made by. So I'll just play it now, going through. We also got the music playing straight from the start as well. We thought this was important to have this in there. We started off with a black and white shot. Let me just pause that, sorry. With this black and white shot, we thought it would be best to distinguish the opening crying shot with the shot we'd have at the end, towards the end of the film, just before the counselling scene. If we kept both of these in colour, it might not have made sense. So we thought that a black one is sort of like not a flashback, but you sort of understand what I mean. It distinguishes that they're 2 different shots, for different reasons, and they're not linked because this original one isn't linked to the actual narrative specifically. Skipping forward, I decided to actually go with the blur titles. This was something that was quite it was something that we weren't sure of until we sort of did titles last, basically. And this is an effect I really like and I've used personally in my own sort of editing in my own free time. If I just click on it here, you'll see what I've basically done is set up an intro blur. So we start off with minimal amounts of blur here, and then we transition. If I play it now, it lets me play it in 2 seconds. You can see that blurs in. So what I've done basically is start off with a full blur, and then it will transition into a 0 blur. And to edit this, these are the timeline scales that you can change it. So as you can see here, numbers are at 0, 6, 3, 0. Here the numbers are at 0. I also decided to go with the blur out as well, which you'll see now. This was sort of like not a proper blur, it's like a flash, because I knew that the screen would be going black at the same time. You can see as I press and play and pause this, it sort of flashes with the black, which was something that I really liked when I was sort of messing around with the blur settings. For the secondary bit of text, let me just minimize this. This bit, sorry. This bit, yeah. So I've basically just used a normal linear wipe here. I've also added in the blur effect, which I copied over just by recording the figures and using these timelines as well, the key points. I've just used a basic linear wipe there, and that wasn't too difficult. So once we've got past these titles, we then get onto the getting dressed scene. Now this is something that changed a lot actually over from our first draft. Our first draft, we wanted a Shaun of the Dead style editing process, so it would be quick cuts and zoom ins. But looking back and based on feedback I think we got from Amy and Harriet in our class, they said, this doesn't really suit your genre. It seems kind of comedy, action, and yours is drama. So what you should do is prolong the scale of the shots, so like the time that the shot is in the film, and then also with the editing it should just be normal cuts and no zooms or anything like that make it seem a bit comedy action. So this was something that I changed as soon as I got the feedback, and it honestly looked so much better from that point onwards. I will quickly then go on to the cupboard scene. This is one we actually forgot to record on the first day, so we had to go back on a separate day and do it. We've decided the lighting was actually quite important. I don't know if you can see from this shot, but this door here is open on purpose, as there's more light actually in that room, but obviously it's not a cupboard, that's like a sort of lounge living room. Behind the actor, we've got big open doors where the natural light is seeping in, and we actually had to turn on these lights up here, which gave it a sort of warm feeling. This was quite important, and it was something that I actually paid attention to in the colour correction, was that this warm feeling here with the lights sort of represents home and things like that. We've kept all of the scenery up, which is actually a change from this shot. We had a lot more, like, because that's in my bedroom, we had a lot more pictures and posters everywhere, but we decided to go with the sort of blank sort of nothing there sort of thing, because we didn't, I don't know, it's quite different because on the first day obviously we wanted there not to be anything around him and the focus to be on him. But sort of looking at other films, I think this might be one of our downfalls. There's too much white space here, which is basically, white space is areas where there isn't anything going on. The only real, look, we've got a lamp here, a shelf here, and a plug here. Like, other than that, there isn't much attention, like, they're grabbing things in this shot, which is quite poor. We had a big poster up here, and there's a few posters up there before, but we took those all down as we felt it sort of, I don't know, Greg felt that would be the best thing. I think it's worked fine, and it does look good because it pays, in the black and white, it does pay more attention to Adam himself. But I don't know if that will be a downfall later on. People might see, oh, you know, there's too much white space. As you can see again in this shot, there's more going on here, but he's so close to the camera, it doesn't really matter that there's white space because he covers it. In this one, we've got headphones, plug, and things like this. So the background is actually something we could have paid more attention to, possibly try and set up a bit more atmosphere. But we are amateur filmmakers at the end of the day, so there's going to be things like that in there. Now, this shot is one I was quite proud of. What we did was, I don't know if I can play this in slow motion, can I? No, I can't play this in slow motion, but sorry. But what I'll do, I'll just key through the frames like this. As you can see, as this cupboard opens, we then have this transition shot where it opens, and we have the camera that was inside of the cupboard. Now, this is obviously Greg was directing this film, and he was the one I wanted to focus. Let him focus on the filming side of things because he is a lot better at that than I am, and I'm more of an editor. But this was a shot that we both agreed would look really good, and it was something I could edit well, and it was an idea I thought just as a good transition shot, and just because if he just opens this cupboard and there's nothing there. So something I've just noticed actually is that I wasn't actually recording the screen, so what I'll have to do is try and add that in and show you at each point. But I think you'll be able to see. What I'll just do is play over that section just over a few times so you can see that opening bit. Luckily I've managed to figure that out only about 30 seconds into the actual short film, but what I'll do is just add in a rendered version of those events, and you'll sort of see. What I'll have to do is maybe take a few screenshots as well and add in where I did the editing. But which point was I on? This opening shot here with him looking in was looking into the cupboard was done just as a means of showing a different angle. We felt this is really important. We don't want it constantly behind the actor like it is in The Irrational Fear of Nothing. So shots like these of close-ups are actually just neat little ways to put in shots that don't feel forced, which was something we had to pay a lot of attention to. Then going on to this shot, as you'll notice, the colours are quite different. This was just down to the surrounding atmosphere. Like, this is quite warm, whereas this ends up being more like dark and grey. I will show you this quick focus pull. So obviously we've got the focus on him there, and then Greg transitions that into that focus, and then he obviously goes. I'll just play it again for you once more. The colour correction on this was quite difficult. I probably could have warmed this up a bit more, if I'm honest, but I think this sort of colour is good. I'm not sure. We wanted a mix, I think, because when you look at this shot compared to this shot here, the colours are sort of similar, with, you know, this surrounding bit here and these whites sort of match up with this and these whites. So that was something we had to pay attention to, and I probably could have done more to colour correct this shot specifically. I will show you if we got any colour correction on this. We did slightly reduce contrast as we felt that was bad, and I've basically lowered it here. If I just quickly show you this is colour curves. So this is something that you can do to increase contrast and is very good for like black and white shots. But if I raise this, more white. If I lower it, more black. So let's try and find that balance again.